Welcome, everybody, to the Digital Nomad Experts podcast by Commute. Today, we're going to talk about a hotly debated topic, and it's if you should travel slowly or quickly as a digital nomad. So you got Jeff and Marissa here. Marissa, let's do a quick check-in. Where are you and how are you?
I am doing well. I'll start with that. I am in Costa Rica, where I've been for the last 2 months. I am actually leaving tomorrow, which I'm so sad about, but it's been an awesome 2 months here. I have been just in this tiny little beach town, just literally barefoot in the sand, in the ocean, in the sun all day. If I'm playing pickleball also. Yeah, I've been dancing, there's like the gym I go to is this like outdoor gym that has, it's kind of like Muscle Beach, but it has like all wood sort of equipment. So I've just been, I feel like I've been outdoors for 2 months, which makes me the happiest. I love that.
I feel like this was sprung on me. Going home in
that
one
I'm
day.
leaving.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I actually extended a little bit. I was all over the place. I was actually going to go to Argentina. I didn't end up going there. And I'm actually going.
Live in Costa Rica.
I know.
You're going to buy a house, and this is going to be your permanent residence from now on.
I know. Well, it still might be. I still want to do that. I'm actually feeling more like I want to split my time a lot between maybe Costa Rica and Atlanta. And this will be a good topic as we get into the slow matting, because I am now the slow versus quick travel. Like I have moved to slower travel after a lot of years of quick travel. So as we get into it, I'll sort of talk about that. But the reason I'm actually leaving here, it's like against my, not actually against my will, but I am going to New York to do a meditation retreat for a couple days with my mom. And cool. I'm really excited about it. So she put it in the calendar. She was like, "Are you sure you're going to be here? Are you sure you're going to come?" And I was like, "Definitely. I know I'll be back by then." And now I'm like, I never want to leave. But Costa Rica's like not that far.
Pasana? Is it like the 10-day thing?
No, the Vipassana. No, so it's not that. I don't know if I want to do that at some point. I know a lot of people who have, but this is it's a meditation teacher. It's called Ziva Meditation. It's this woman named Emily Fletcher. And I discovered her randomly like 7 or 8 years ago when I was just wanting to get into meditation. I listened to a podcast from her and just kind of like took this course that she did, and my mom did it at the same time. We sort of did it together, and so she's been like deeply following it for a lot of years, and we both do the style. So she's doing this in person sort of like 2-day retreat to kind of get back to it, or just I don't know, it's kind of like a deeper, I don't know, just like going into the meditation, just almost like re-upping your practice, I would say. So yeah, it's just a special time with my mom and something we both enjoy. And then from there, I think I'll stay in Atlanta a little bit just because it's getting warm, and I'll be there for a bit, and then maybe pop back to Costa Rica. We'll see. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. And that's why I'm leaving. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be.
Man, I got to get out of the West Coast. I was just looking at your flights. It's like 3 hours and 56 minutes nonstop.
Oh yeah, it's so easy to get back to Atlanta.
Something bucks. Oh my god. Yeah, just look at like going up and down, going to Latin America from your side of the coast.
It's so much easier.
Oh my god. Yeah, mine is like
sorry for your
8
West Coast.
Stops, twice the price. It's San Francisco.
Yeah.
Stupid.
And I used to live in LA,
San Francisco
so
fans. I've been there my whole life, so I can say I'm sick of this commute.
Yeah, it's far. And it's actually faster to fly. Like the actual flight from where I am in Costa Rica to Atlanta is shorter than flying from Atlanta to California, like to LA. So it's not, sometimes I forget, like you're in a different country, but it's not actually like that hard to get home from some places or that far. So yeah. What about you? Where are you and how are you?
I'm going to be flying to Boston in a few weeks. From San Francisco?
That's crazy.
If you flew 6.5 hours in Europe, you'd end up in Asia.
Or you'd be
back in the United States.
How big the country is.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm still in Buenos Aires. We're heading out on Saturday. It's actually been a month already. Yeah, it's been a month, going to Mexico City for a week for a wedding. And then, back to the States for a little bit. I'm going to Boston, see some friends out there. Might go up to Seattle for a little bit, so just a little bit of local travel, and then from there, this is like the least planned year I've had in quite a while.
Same.
I got wide open schedule. People are kind of scattering to the wind, so I don't know. I'm kind of a.
Well, it'll be a surprise to us as we both go. I have no idea either. Yeah, normally I feel like we both have kind of more, even if we don't know for sure, we both are like, well, we might be here. Mm-hmm. There's some people, but yeah, this year is like wide open to me. But quickly, before we jump into the topic, we talked so much before you got to Buenos Aires about how much you would love this city. So now that you're a month in and almost leaving, what has been your takeaway?
Mostly good. It's mixed, but mostly good. What I really like about it, it does feel European. As you listeners know, I do love Europe quite a bit. I'd say the vibe is pretty good. The cost of everything is really inexpensive. I mean, buying Aperol spritzes for like $3.50, $4. It's weird because the inflation is so strong that you're walking around with this giant phone book of money in your pocket everywhere you go. That's hard. And the biggest bill is like $2. That's very unusual.
Just so much cash.
Yeah, exactly. The stuff to do around here is great. I mean, just staying in town. We haven't left town, and we haven't really need to because there's so much to see. I mean, just like the free public stuff, going to these parks, the parks on parks on parks. It's great. Yeah. Zoos, parks, all that stuff. We did a tango show last Saturday, which was badass. Did not expect. I'm not really into that kind of thing, but like I can't imagine anybody not being into that after seeing it. It's super, super cool. There's a free racetrack there. You just get right down onto the field and watch these horses racing, and there's people gambling and yelling at their horse and everything, and it was like a whole thing. It was super cool. So it's
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a redo for me at some point down the road. Okay. Maybe not immediately, but it's a redo, and it kind of fits into the category of slow travel for me, which we can segue into now.
So let's jump into that then. Speaking of,
all right, so what's slow travel?
Yeah, so to be fair, Jeff and I, when we sort of plan out podcast episodes, we like to kind of outline at least what we want to cover and share with you so we don't forget anything, and then we like to kind of go off and just share naturally what comes. But with that, to start, we're like, well, we should talk about like what is slow versus fast travel. And the two of us actually kind of disagree. So we're like, we'll table it. We're going to have this conversation live because I think there actually is no exact definition. But I'm going to give it my stab at it. And then I want to hear your definition as well. So we talk about digital nomad life and nomading. It means you have the flexibility to move anywhere, right? And technically you could stay somewhere for 1 day, 1 week, 1 year, 10 years, and have the freedom to travel. A lot of people, and I guess the way that you and I have been traveling for a while, Jeff, is if we go somewhere, we're usually staying somewhere for a month at a time. So for me, when I talk about slow versus quick travel, I think about it as like, if you're traveling anything less than a month at a time as a nomad, and I've been traveling for 8 years, so the times where I go quickly, I burn out. So I might jump between, I'll talk about maybe some times why I do purposefully travel quickly, but as a nomad, if you want to sustain this lifestyle, to me, like 1 month or longer is not fast, but it's not necessarily what we call slow madding. So there's nomading and then just kind of like what is it, like Urban Dictionary, like within the nomad community, we'll talk about slow madding. So Jeff said to me, like, what is your definition of slow madding? So to me, that's if I would stay somewhere maybe like 3 months or longer. Like to me, that's like really slowing down. It's like staying a season in each place. Like you're just really moving slowly, not exploring new places, just kind of living somewhere to chill out. So to me, 1 month or longer is you won't burn out. 3 months, I would say like 3 to 6 months is slow madding, and then maybe like a year plus you're kind of expatting at that point. But I'm really curious. I don't think that's a verb. I'm making it one. Then you're expatting.
Maybe that's all of our ultimate destination. That's our final destination is expat.
I think it is. And I feel like I'm kind of like the first time in 8 years sort of shifting to maybe doing that sort of lifestyle between like kind of being expat in Costa Rica-ish. I know I never thought, like, it's wild to me because I've been nomading for so long. But technically, to be a digital nomad, it just means you have the freedom to be a fast matter. We're making that a term now. A slow matter, an expatter. These are not real words. But yeah, that's how I kind of think about it. And it's like, it's a weird sort of like identity shift, but I'll still be traveling. I know I'll still want to go for a month to like Bali sometimes, or say yes to, a group of friends somewhere. But I think I really want to slow down and sort of like actually stay those, 3+ months here in Costa Rica at times. But what about you? What's your definition of slow versus fast travel?
I think anything beyond a month or so is more on the slow end of things. And that's actually where I would put the line of how long you should spend anywhere that you're actually interested in.
Yeah.
Reason being is it's not, because we talked about this before, it's not like vacation travel where you're cramming in tons of the cultural stuff that you want to see, like sites and all the tours and all that stuff, into one condensed week. You're working all week, right? So you get to squeeze that in if you can after hours or before hours, depending on what time zone you're in, or on the weekends. And so you need that extra time to actually see all the things that you want to do. And on top of that, I don't want to step on pros and cons, which we're going to get into, but you kind of don't want to move too much faster because you'll start to burn yourself out. So I'm not going to step on that too much because there's a lot to talk about on that. But I'd put it at like a month and then beyond is where I want to be. And I think that's kind of slow. Just looking back at, I mean, there's no definition. We just talked about that. You can't just Google this. What's slow mad? I just did Google.
Right.
What is
really?
slow mad.
What does it say?
Yeah. Nothing. It says moving slower pace. Right. It's a digital nomad at a slower pace. It says nothing.
Right.
So for me, anything shorter than a month time span is too fast for me. And I think that's too fast for probably anybody starting if you really want to like an area and not burn yourself out. So that's where I put it. And then expatting, I don't know. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think you go 6 months to a year, you're getting close. You're knocking on the door of being an expat. And I feel like you're knocking pretty loudly right now.
On Costa Rica?
We'll see if that door opens for you in the near future.
We'll see. I'm like, I don't even know. But it's close. We'll see. But okay. So we're I think what we can agree on, what I'm hearing is, as a digital nomad, like you'll probably burn out and not really enjoy or get to know a place if you're working full time, if you're there less than a month. I definitely agree on that. And then slow matting is kind of like a little bit longer than that, and a year plus you kind of start to get into that expat territory. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's our official beach commute definition here. You heard it here first. But no, there is no exact definition. But we wanted, before we talk about the pros and cons, and then we'll talk about some of the places that we have purposefully kind of slow matted or spent longer time or purposefully traveled a little bit quicker. We just, so you know where this episode is going, but we wanted to at least define what we mean and how long we mean when we talk about staying for a long time or slow matting or long term versus some quicker travel. So with that, Jeff, let's get into the pros and cons of this, what we're calling, slow travel. Let's just call it anywhere from like 1 to 3+ months at least, maybe longer, but like that's what we're talking when we're talking about the pros of staying a little bit longer versus the cons of maybe going for somewhere for like a day or two or a week or even 2-3 weeks. So you jump in first, I'll add in as well, but what in your mind are some of the pros and cons of either of those options?
It's kind of a bummer. We're kind of on the same page with this one. What we need is a contrarian on this episode to say, no, guys, you're doing it wrong. And
there will be those people.
Some different opinions. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, write in if you are one of those people. One of the biggest pros, I've got a few. The biggest one that I can think of immediately is it's cheaper. It's always going to be cheaper.
You're saying for travel slow.
So travel
slowly.
for traveling slow, for slow matting, it's cheaper.
Okay. Yeah.
When you're booking Airbnbs in a month, almost always you can negotiate a lower rate, or it already comes baked into the platform. You'll see that it's like some of them are insanely knocked off, like 50% if you book for a full month. And typically when you book further out, like you're planning these longer months in advance, it's going to be cheaper that way as well. So I mean, it's just kind of. Oh yeah, one more thing would be booking airline tickets. If you're booking really, really fast and you don't have it already lined up like well into the future, it's typically, not always, it's typically a little cheaper to have your flights booked out at least a month in advance. Right. So that's not the rule, but it's a lot cheaper than just booking a couple days in advance. 100% for sure.
Yeah, and for deciding last minute. And I want to add quickly why, when you talk about it's so much cheaper for accommodations, just for if you haven't booked in this way, if you're looking at Airbnb or other platforms, or imagine if you are the host renting it, basically like they don't have so many cleaning fees in between. There's not as much wear and tear to switch over. If you're staying for a full month, you're paying for every day of that month instead of that person might book it for days and then it's not occupied. Maybe they just don't get a renter for the rest of the month. So it's more guaranteed income for them. So they're willing to do a lesser price for you because they know there's going to be income that whole time. So there really is a lot more room for negotiation. So I just wanted to kind of explain why that is for someone who might be listening.
Good addition. Let's also throw in there food. How many times can you buy salt and pepper shakers when you're moving around, right? Like, you're going to travel with your spice cabinet. You're going to travel with your leftover food. You're going to rebuy all that food. Or you're going to buy it on Rappi or a delivery, or you're going to go out. Because if you're going really, really fast, you just don't have time to do all that shopping. Whereas if you're traveling really slow, you got a stock of stuff in your kitchen. You're like, and it's just
so
ready to go. It's going to be a lot cheaper.
Right. Those are good points. So yeah, I wasn't even thinking about the price when I was thinking of the benefits, which is why I love doing this, because we always think about different things. So for me, the biggest pros that come when I think about slow matting, one is just not burning out, not feeling like you have to do so much so quickly and trying to fit so much work and so much travel in to the point where it's just like you're burning, what's the phrase? You're burning the candle at both ends and you just exhaust yourself and you don't want to go anywhere or do anything, or you get sick and you're just exhausted. So if you're somewhere for a whole month, it's not like, okay, think about if you're going somewhere on a week vacation and you're not working, you have, let's say, 7 days, like every day you're going to go do an activity or rest or visit an island or whatever it is you're doing, but you have, you can do a lot quickly. Whereas when you're working all day, you might do what you would do in 7 days on vacation over the period of 4 weekends of your month. So it's just a better way to kind of you can work, chill, not burn yourself out, but still get in all the things that you want to see or places you want to go nearby. And then you also get the added benefit of living like a local. So as Jeff was just talking about buying groceries, you go to the grocery store, you go stock up on food, you cook, you find the local restaurants that the people who live there are going to instead of just the tourist list, because you might be walking by a place. So you just kind of get the normal, you go to the local gym. So you really, I don't know, it was not one of the reasons I became a nomad, but one of the reasons I since loved it was wow, I've lived in 70 different countries where I've actually gotten to see how locals are living, not just traveling as a complete tourist. So it's been a really cool way to see the stores are all closed or they don't open until 10 because people in this culture sleep way later, or everything's closed from 3 to 5 p.m. because they nap during this time. It's just things you might not catch or know otherwise. So to me, one of the biggest pros is just slowing down, getting more places, learning places that you from the locals who you meet along the way, who you just wouldn't have time to figure it out if you were only there for 7 days or a couple days. I
completely agree with that one. And I'd say when it comes to digital nomad lifestyle, it's probably the most important factor is how do you do this sustainably without completely burning yourself out. And it comes fast. I mean, that burnout will hit you hard, and then you're going to suffer physically, you're going to suffer mentally, your work might suffer. It's a pretty big one. And kind of a related note, I'd say physical health is a big benefit to slow matting from a whole bunch of different angles. First off, traveling on a plane is not very healthy for you. It's not very good for your body to be traveling on a plane all the time. Your sleep's going to be completely disrupted. It won't be if you're in the same bed for an entire month. You're pretty solid. You might adjust once, for a couple days, and then you're all set. Your eating habits are going to be way, way, way better. Like we talked about, you're going to have a stock in your house. You're going to know where the good grocery stores are. You're going to know where the good healthy restaurants are. All that kind of stuff. Whereas
that takes a couple days to find that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Whereas if you're traveling quickly, you're just going to grab something because you need fuel. You're just in fuel mode. Yeah. And it's going to be really unhealthy. Gyms, on top of that, way, way, way better to slow mat because it takes a minute to find your gym. You got to get a membership. And then typically, again, you're going to save money by getting a month-long membership as opposed to day by day by day by day. Just trying to squeeze in workouts in between flights and stuff. Just not the same as establishing a routine. And then just, I think, your mindset stuff, I think that pretty much covered the whole mental aspect of it, physical aspect of it. I think you're just going to get a lot more physical, mental well-being.
Yeah, it's also really time-consuming to pack up your bags, move. It's like when you get somewhere, you get it out, you get your toothbrush out, you kind of settle in, and then 2 days later, you have to pack. I sometimes underestimate how much time it takes to pack, to unpack, to move, to get a taxi, to get to the airport, or get to a bus, or get to however you're getting to your next destination. And then there's the hours
Yeah.
of transport. I was staying here. The house I was in is rented for a couple days, and I just moved like literally down the street to someone else's house that I knew to stay for a couple days, and then came back. But each day I did that, it took about half a day of my time, because just mentally I was like, okay, I can't really get work done because I got to pick out, I got to be out by this time, I got to pack up all my food, I got to carry it over here, I got to bring it back. And I wasn't even going in a car, I wasn't even going, long distance. So when you add that in, it just really takes it takes a lot of time to just, both packing, and then if you're traveling, on a bus to a different city or a plane or a car or whatever it is, like it might take hours to get to the next place. And it takes a lot of your time. So again, I'll talk about in a second, maybe some of the pros, but there was a time of my travel life where I didn't care. I wanted to go so many places, but it really is an important thing to consider that I think I always underestimate every time, how much time and effort it takes to like move all your stuff and move to a new place.
Totally true. Yeah, you think about it when you're looking at your flight coming up, and it says 2-hour flight, 3-hour flight. You're like, that's
easy.
That's 2 or 3 hours. It's no big
Right.
deal. No, it's driving to the airport. It's 2 hours waiting at the airport. It's commuting back from the airport. It's unpacking.
Yeah.
It's taking a shower. It's a day. Anytime you move, it's a day.
Always.
Right? And then what about just getting sick? Like when you travel more, you get sick more. You're just you're in planes.
Maybe.
You're
right.
Yeah. I mean, I think it increases your likelihood. Yeah. Any more?
Well, the one thing I want to give I think that's mostly the pros. I want to give the con of slow matting, really the only one that I can think of, and this is why I didn't do it for so long, is that you just don't get to as many places in the world, right? So I feel like, again, you get to know when you're in a place. I have come to appreciate, like, getting to know a new country and getting to know the environment and the culture and the people, and I love that version of slow matting now. But if I rewind to 2016 me, or just like so many years ago when I first started, I was like I was just like young and blind, and I just wanted to see the world. I was like, I just want to get to as many locations as I can. Like every place I went, there was like 30 more places and countries and cities and towns that I learned about from other people that I wanted to go to, or I'd get to a country and learn there were so many more places within it. And I just had this like burning desire in me to get to, for whatever reason, just to get to so many places. And I remember back then in my younger digital nomad days, when I would talk to people, whether it was maybe after a year or 2 or 3 years or however long they'd been traveling, and they were like, I think I'm going to settle. I'm just going to stay, get a long-term lease in Mexico, or I'm going to stay here long-term, or I think I'm actually going to go home for a little while. Like, I thought they were insane. I truly did not understand those people.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand why anyone would stop. And so for me, when I first started, I would go, so when I first started, I stayed 6 weeks in Bali, and then I went to 5 weeks in Thailand, and then I would pop around, and I went to like Singapore, and I went to Myanmar, and I went to Cambodia and Laos, and I moved some fast places, and then I was like, okay, now I'll slow down again because I'm burned out and I need to work a little longer. So to me, the con of slow mad or slower nomad life is that you're just not seeing as much of the world so quickly. But it's just, I guess, different priorities at different times. And now my priority is I'm tired. I've been traveling a lot of time. I've seen a lot of the world, and now it's more important to me to just like feel rested, to be surrounded by the right people, to be in a place that I really love, to get a lot of work done. So there's just different priorities you might have at different parts in your life. And it might be 2 years from now, who knows? Maybe I'm like, I've been chilling in Costa Rica for 2 years. I'm ready to hit the road and see, 10 countries in Africa. I don't know. So who knows where we'll be, but I think I'm learning that just to kind of appreciate whatever phase you're in is not good, bad, or otherwise. And there might be different phases at different parts of your nomad journey that you want to travel faster or slower. But any other cons or pros of any parts of this that you have?
Really, all I could think of, it's just, the main thing is it's less exciting. It is just exciting to go to a new country all the time.
Yeah.
Going to any new country at any point, it's unknown. It's the butterflies. It's the the feeling that you get when you walk into an airport knowing that you're going to see something brand new is really, really exciting. And you just don't have it as much, which I think is fine, because you might just get jaded to that.
Yeah.
You might get jaded to the idea of seeing something new and everything starts looking the same.
Yeah.
So it's a con, but I think it's not really a con. And I'm actually just trying to rack my brain to think if there's any
other con.
I can't really think of any.
That's It's really the only one to me.
I thought
but
I'd
it
have
is
something.
I know, right? But it's a big enough like reason that it does keep people moving quickly sometime. I would say it's like such that dopamine rush. If you have the travel bug, and like Jeff said, if going to a new country, it's exhilarating, it's amazing. You don't know what you'll get. You want to explore. So there are those reasons to move quickly. So really, of a con of slow travel?
Yeah. If you go to a new place that you've never been to before.
Oh, and you don't like it.
You book a month and you hate it.
That's a good one.
Airbnb.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you had that happen before? Where you place you didn't like?
I've changed places that I didn't like. To me, it's less like I feel like accommodations are changeable. You can kind of figure that out. But yeah, to maybe be in a country or a city or a town for a month or if you're committing to it that you don't like it. But I guess as you say that, I'm like, but you can always move. Like you can say you're going to slow mat or be in a place. If you don't like it, you can leave. But yeah, if you're the type of person who's like, I paid for it, I did it, I said I was going to do it, I'm not going, then that definitely is a good con if you commit to somewhere you don't like and just force yourself to stay. I guess for me, I don't force myself. If I don't like somewhere, I'm like, yeah, I'm out. This isn't working for me.
If you get like a non-refundable month booked and you're day 2.
I guess it depends. I feel like there's ways I can always like get out of it, or like if it's that bad, there's got to be a reason if it's that bad.
How to get out of it.
I'm a good negotiator, but I think like if I was committing to somewhere, it's probably because I felt like it would be a certain standard. And if it's that bad, like I feel like you can talk to Airbnb, you can get things done. If it's not what it says it is, if it's dark or doesn't have internet or whatever it is, right? Like there's usually ways you can get out of it. So to me, it's less about the accommodation, but I feel like, I don't know, I'm creative. I feel like I always find ways. Maybe I know someone else who's coming who was like, I'd be happy to stay there, who loves that place and I want to leave. There's ways. Yeah. And sometimes I'm just like, I'm willing to like eat the cost of somewhere if I don't want to be there. But I feel like, I don't know if I've ever really like left I've left, I don't know, I've moved quickly. I feel like I haven't committed. Like I've gone to places where I didn't know if I was going to stay for a long time, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to, and leave. I'm trying to is there anywhere you've been where you've
I don't want to
left
spoil
early?
It's coming up.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah. Okay. Left early and didn't want to be there for a full month.
Fair. I guess there's some I've done that too, but I've just kind of been like, all right, it's fine. Like I paid for it. That was my fault. I'm out. Yeah. So, well, I guess with that, let's move to it. So we've talked about now, like what is slow versus fast travel? And then we talked about a lot of these pros and cons of fast versus slow travel. So next we want to talk about, we're going to cover both places that we have purposefully kind of slow matted and enjoyed it, just to give you some ideas of like what some of those places were for us. And again, this is really personal to every person of what you like or don't like. And then some places that we have done quickly and why. So again, more about it's less about the particular place. You'll see some themes and some patterns for each, and then why we've made these decisions. So I guess, Jess, you want to kick it off with places we've kind of slow matted or at least stayed like kind of a month or longer?
Yeah, Cape Town. That one's a no-brainer. It's just it's easy living. It's inexpensive. Weather's everything's comfortable. It's just like aside from the blackouts from the load shedding,
power outages.
That is not convenient by any means. So any of you don't know what that means, they've got an electricity crisis, an energy crisis in Cape Town, actually most of South Africa, I think, and they'll shut off your power at various points during the day, and you'll just be without power. So you have to have backup batteries for your Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's so livable as a digital nomad. It just makes it like really comfortable to do. I did 2 months. So I guess we should say how long we did in each place. I did 2 months, and I would say that's great. I could easily do more.
Yeah. And actually, if you want to maybe keep just going, since we'll kind of quickly touch on these, it's not as much about some of the topics that we talk about. You want to give like a couple of those other ones and sort of like the themes between them that you've slow matted. Yeah. What are some other places that kind of like, what are the themes and what are the places where you've stayed? And then I'll try mine afterwards.
Anywhere in Mexico is what I put on my list.
I love that.
I think that's fair because I think of all the places I've been in Mexico. I think it actually works anywhere in Mexico that I've been. I'd be like, I could stay here for quite a long period of time. Yeah, again, commonalities, just comfortable weather is kind of a big one.
Yeah.
Cost of living is another big one. And then I said Santa Teresa, Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Cost of living, no. Weather, humid, but just the environment is easy living. You know, it's pura vida. Yeah. Everyone's chill, and it's easy to get sucked into that. Like, this lifestyle is great. Just waking up in the morning early,
sucked in,
working out on the beach, looking at sunsets. You can really, really get into a great routine in Costa Rica.
I sure do.
And I do. So yeah. Okay, so Mexico, I don't know if that one. I'd say just various parts for a long time total. Santa Teresa, I spent a month.
Yeah. Awesome. Any other ones before I hop into mine?
Those are my slow mad ones. That's it.
Yeah. I'll share a few. The themes that I heard from you, the kind of commonalities of why you were slow madding was mostly it was great cost of living, great weather, just sort of like an easy place to just kind of exist in the lifestyle, were sort of the themes that I heard from you there. I also had several places in Mexico, so I love it. It's, mine's always Playa del Carmen. I know a lot of people, it's Puerto Escondido. So I've lived in Playa for several months at a time, throughout many years. I don't even know how many months I've lived there in total, but again, it just feels really easy. Just always other nomads around. The weather's always great, super affordable, just like lots of side trips, and just, love it all around. I also said kind of like Costa Rica in general. So I'm in a little town called Las Catalinas, but two of the other big ones a couple are like Nosara, Santa Teresa that Jeff mentioned, Tamarindo. It's just kind of I would say I agree with you. The cost of living is actually really similar to the US. It's not really any cheaper, I would say, but it's got the amazing weather, the chill life, great community. So there's that. Bali, Indonesia is always up there for me. Just like huge digital nomad community at all times. Just like great cost of living, weather, like just the vibe there, great food, affordable, all the things. Sri Lanka is up there for me now. So I've only stayed about a month there because I was moving around to some other places with friends, but it's definitely a place I could hang for. Like I went out of there kicking and screaming. Like I did not want to leave Sri Lanka. It's a lot of similarities to Bali for me, of just like the vibe, the chill, super, great cost of living, beachy, sunny, lots of adventures inland, like everything you want to do, you can do there. And then just a couple other quick ones I'll just mention are Bansko in Bulgaria. If you like skiing, it's a great kind of ski place, but in the summertime, it's not necessarily year round because it gets cold in the winter, but summertime, there's always nomads. It's a really easy place to just like super affordable, like lots of hiking. You can always be outdoors, great community. Thailand is up there for a lot of people. So Chiang Mai and Koh Phangan. I've lived in Chiang Mai for a month. I lived in Koh Phangan I think I was there for 2 months, small little island. So same reason as all the other ones. And yeah, those were some of the main ones. So I guess the themes for me is very similar to you. It's always weather, cost of living, other digital nomads around, and kind of like just like a good quality of life, I would say. Like you'd be outdoors and nature, for me anyway. Other people I think like cities and things like that, but Wi-Fi, all of those things. But those are kind of the reasons we end up staying in a place. So before we move to the quick travel, Jeff, any kind of thoughts overall on themes that we mentioned in these slow places and kind of why we stayed in those places?
Yeah, I think they're hubs for a reason. I mean, it's kind of everything that you're looking for. And also most of the places that we mentioned, I didn't keep tabs on all of them. I'd say we're probably pretty decent starter locations, digital nomads. Yeah. Maybe not some of the Mexico at large. That might be too broad of a statement. But a lot of these are like, they are slow mad locations because they're not advanced, like super difficult to figure out with Wi-Fi. And got to get community and how to get Bolivia, getting in and out.
And you didn't say Medellin in Colombia.
That would definitely go on the list too. Yeah, I kind of omitted that one. I've talked about it so much. I just kind of want to. Yeah, I'm pulling back a little bit on it. It's just like, and it's so impacted at the moment. I'm just gonna take my foot off the gas a little bit on it.
Fair enough. But it is interesting. I was thinking about the locations we were just talking about. I would say the overall theme for places that nomads end up staying a long time is it's easy to live there. And that's something I didn't really think too much about, I would say, when I first got started. And what I mean is, like, if I'm traveling to Nigeria, to Nepal, to Egypt, to some of these other places, like, they're just harder to, like, it feels overwhelming. The power goes on and off, or there's not a community, or it's just like, sometimes I feel like it's like you just walk into the streets and it feels like aggressive. It's not like laid back. You can't maybe find, electronics that you need, or clothing or supplies or vitamins or medicine or whatever it is. So I think also, as I'm thinking out loud, a lot of the places that we end up slow matting are because it's convenient. It's actually easy. It doesn't take too much of your energetic battery every day just to exist, because you got to work and you want to spend your energy just like staying healthy, working out and working, not just like staying in fight or flight mode trying to navigate a city or a place to survive, which says a lot. I know that's might be controversial because obviously a lot of people do live in these places full time, but it's also, I would say, sometimes it's just what you're used to. So like if you grow up in, let's say if you grow up in Cairo, Egypt, your nervous system is used to that. You're used to the ins and outs of what it feels to be there, versus if you grew up in a tiny little mountain town or a small town where you can just drive and get everything easily and you show up there, like it's a lot, or the food is really different. So I think a lot of nomads end up in places where you can kind of get the food you're used to. You can have an easier life, for better or for worse, and still like be able to work. So I think that's also a big theme of why some of these slow med locations pop up.
I think that's maybe subconsciously part of the reason I didn't mention Medellin, is because it's you have to be so much more vigilant these days. The last couple of years, it's been
with crime.
It's been changing, and largely because a lot of, there's been a lot of tourists, not maybe some digital nomads, but a lot of tourists coming in, thinking that they're going into the United States and being very, very careless in the way that they act and the places that they go, and it's bringing in a lot of crime. And as a result, normal folks, digital nomads, have to be on guard all the time, especially in impacted areas. It's just not like, if you go in as a first time, like location as a digital nomad, you can, but I mean, you really, really have to have your wits about you. It's not like you're talking about Egypt. Maybe people are used to that kind of high speed, high intensity environment. But as a starter, you might not be. If you are, you tend to be hyper vigilant anyways. Yeah, okay, but at this moment, you just have to have your guard up quite a bit.
Yeah. It's interesting when you say Cape Town as well. I felt like I really had to have my guard up there, to the point where I was like, I don't know why so many nomads, like, and to be fair, we have so many nomad friends who have actually moved there full time as an expat sort of style, who stay for 3 months as long as they can with their visa every time, like love it. But for me, I just felt like I had to, like, I couldn't walk everywhere I wanted to. I felt more on guard. So if it didn't have that and the blackouts, I feel like it would be a totally different scene for me. But it is something to think about. And I have some friends I know who love Thailand, because when you live on like the islands in Thailand, or pretty much anywhere in Thailand, there's almost no crime. You can leave, like, people will literally go to a cafe, park their scooter, leave their phone in the little like cup holder, leave their keys in it, walk into a restaurant, order food, get it, and no one will take your stuff. I mean, it would be really rare. It is so safe. And there's a lot to be said for that. Like, again, I think about friends who tell me, they're like, Mexico's great, this is great, but like, I'm on guard. I don't want to leave my stuff places. I want to be in Thailand because I can just be so free. And I feel that way where I am in Costa Rica a lot of times. Like, I don't think twice about having my phone out. Like, I can leave my stuff on the beach where I am a lot. So something to consider as well. So with that, I guess, Jeff, let's hear some locations where you have purposely done quickly and why.
I've got a few for different reasons. I'm kind of excited about this one. First one is Prague, Czech Republic. And I say that for different reasons than you would list that one. For me, it's become just way too touristy. It's just like elbow to elbow tourist. And it gets annoying. Just having that many people around is already annoying, but living amongst tourists kind of during amateur hour, it just gets really, really annoying. And you get like a lot of, sorry for our UK listeners, you get a lot of UK listeners on bachelor parties there. And it's just like, dude, come on. Stop throwing up in the canals. This is, I'm trying to live here. It's too much. So that one's I think I did 5 days, and I'm like, okay, 3 days would have been great, and I'm probably done with Czech Republic, like, for good now. It's just become too impacted. Yeah, I'd like to get your thoughts on that too, because I know you did it right before I did. Maybe the same year, even, actually.
Yeah, I think I was there a couple weeks before you, actually. I feel like we always just missed each other by like several days or weeks, like no matter where we are in the world. But yeah, I was there for a week. I almost put it on mine, and then I didn't. I have some other ones kind of nearby that I'll talk about instead. But to me, I would say almost like cost of living is a big part of that. I feel like most people don't, like, I don't Maybe it is the touristy part. Like, I can't think of any nomad friends who have stayed in Prague. Like, a lot of people I know study abroad there and love it. I can't think of anyone I know. I know a lot of people who have traveled there. I've traveled through there several times. It is a cool kind of touristy place. And I know people love living there, like, when they study abroad. But I don't know a single nomad who has stayed there for, like, a month. So maybe, yeah, because it is so touristy, or maybe it's just not as, like, nomad-friendly pricing. But, yeah. People aren't staying, but it's one of my favorite. Like, if I had to choose a city in Europe, which I just don't love cities and I don't love Europe. That's, if you're listening, that's me in a nutshell. But if I had to go to a city, Prague is like one of the cooler ones in my opinion to kind of like explore for a short time.
You just like the swamp rats, feeding them carrots.
Oh yeah, those are so cute by the river. They'll come and eat. That was my favorite part of Prague. They'll come. What were they called? I can't remember. They look like these giant like moles. They'll come eat carrots out of your hand.
It's like a beaver rat. I don't know.
It looks like, yeah, they're kind of like beavers. So yeah. So what else is on? Those are good reasons. What else is on your quick list?
Next one is Vienna. Vienna's a great city. It's beautiful, but it's boring. Like, it's not, there's no community there.
I feel the same. Sorry,
it's boring. It's really, really quiet. It's just the population's older, so there's just more of a retirement feel to it.
And I didn't know that.
You kind of feel it. Next one is one of my favorite places on earth is Belgium. It is. I love it there. I love the architecture. I love the beer culture. It is way too expensive. And there's no digital nomad community. You just can't. You'll just burn through your bank account living there. It's the classic Western Europe, like, just drains your bank account. There's a reason why it's not a digital nomad hotspot. And it gets cold as fuck. So that doesn't help things either.
And I love before you hop to that last one, I love that you said, like, it's such an important nuance. You said one of your favorite places on earth, you actually won't stay for a long time there. And I think that's so great for someone listening to hear, and for, to understand that living as a nomad is not the same as just like visiting a place that you love. Sometimes they go hand in hand, and sometimes it's like, I want to pop in, it's great for 2 days, and that's all I need there, and I'll keep going back maybe. But it's a really cool distinction, and so I'm glad you said that. Okay, so what else?
Last one is the one that I saved when I put it back in my back pocket, Florence, Italy.
Ooh.
And I saved Florence because I've got very bipolar thoughts on Florence.
Yeah.
For traveling and tourism, love it. Like, it's got some great stuff there. Food is so cool. The architecture's cool. Just going and hanging out on the river area and just checking stuff out, having a spritz, having an espresso, whatever. Like, you get it. You get why people go there. You go to Tuscany up in the hills. It's the stuff you see in movies. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's really, there's a lot of tourist stuff that you want to do there. As a digital nomad, I hated it. I fucking hated it. The internet was unworkable. And then everybody had unworkable internet, so they went to the cafes and they crashed the internet at the cafes. And it was just, for me, I wanted to see more stuff, didn't have the time because I was working. And I couldn't work because the infrastructure was so shit. Yeah. So it's an amazing place to visit. I think a terrible place to be a digital nomad.
Do you think if it had better, let's say like 3 years from now, there's like Starlink and Wi-Fi was perfection there, do you think you would like living there more? Like, could stay slow-madding there, or still like meh?
I would like it more. I still wouldn't recommend it. It's not... I don't think there's a huge community there. It's very expensive. The accommodations are very expensive. The day-to-day living is very expensive. And it's seasonal too. It's not like, going to Costa Rica. It's not like going to Mexico. It's not quite 6 months, maybe a little less. It's not terrible, but no, I don't think it fits the bill for me as a slow mad location, like the other places that we've talked about, where it's like 100% in. Like these ones,
you just go and stay.
That makes sense. So
that makes sense. I've only been there for like maybe 4 days or so too, and back when I was like backpacking, and that was perfect amount of time for me. But I haven't tried to live there. Yeah. Any others before I pop into some of my quick ones?
No, please hit me with your list.
Right. Yeah, so I'll try to do some quick. The first one, I'm just going to bucket some of these countries together. I did like a road trip. It was like Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia. There's like, to me, there were some of those smaller countries where I just personally like didn't love them as much. I like the more tropically beaches. They're kind of these small places that some people like have lived in Estonia, like in Tallinn for a month and love it. So again, it's I guess my message here is it's not that the countries are bad. It's like not the places that I personally love. But I also love to see everywhere in the world. So I didn't want to not see them, which is why I chose to go quickly. Some other ones, I did a road trip through like Kosovo, Macedonia, some places like that, where I was like, I don't really feel like I need to necessarily stay here, but why not see them? So I did a road trip through and, saw some places. So my theme there is, if your country is that like they're just not your jam, or it's a little bit different, or maybe you love nature and its cities, or you love cities and its nature, whatever it is, if it's not somewhere that you're like, I just want to stay and like be and explore and feel, then like that's a great reason to visit quickly. So those were some of those for me. Another one I have on my list here, just again for different reasons, is Turks and Caicos. One of the prettiest places I have ever seen, tiny little island. It's really, really, really expensive. So, in the day when we've each made our millions and millions of dollars, maybe I'd chill there for longer. But it's also like there's not much of a nomad community there, but just price-wise, I wanted to throw it out. Like there's some amazing places where I'd be like, hell yeah, I'd stay here for a long time, but it's just kind of like not as affordable to find the places you want to live because there's a lot of short-term rental travel. So anyway, just wanted to throw some other reasons of why why you might travel somewhere quickly.
Not a random one, right? Card. Yeah.
But I wanted to share sort of different reasons why you might travel somewhere quickly. Jordan was one of those for me. In the Middle East, it was, I don't know, it just felt like a lot. It was really aggressive. There were some things that I wanted to see in Jordan. So for me, it was one of those places where like, I'm going to get in, I'm going to see some things, and then I'm okay to leave. I didn't feel like I needed to stay a month. I know other people who have lived for, not many nomads stay there, but I know some people have stayed there for a couple weeks in Amman and enjoyed it. So again, it's not to say it's like if you love that vibe. To me, I was like, this is a lot. I'm good. I'm so glad I saw it, and I'm very ready. Like I'm good to go. So again, that's another reason. Philippines was one for me. Again, I think literally some of the most beautiful beaches in the world, but the Wi-Fi at the time was really unworkable. So I went there as like a 10-day vacation with a friend of mine who met me there. But again, just that was kind of like, I think it's kind of similar to Florence for you. I could actually live there full time if and when. I think the Wi-Fi is a little better now, but that was up there for me. Those are some main ones. I also had like Singapore, just kind of like cost of living. It was really cool. I felt like I could see it in like a couple days. And I was like, I've seen, maybe it would be really different, I'm sure, to live there and really get to know the culture. But for me, I was like, I've seen a lot. I added Venice, Italy, when you were talking about Florence. It was one of those places that felt so touristy to me. I feel like it's on everyone's list, and you get there and it's cool for 12 hours and that's all you need. I don't know. Get it. I was happy to get in, get out because it was so touristy. And then the last one I had on here was Namibia. I was probably there for 3 weeks or so, but to me that was more of one, I could actually spend a long time there, but like if I wasn't working, because there's so much to travel to and like explore on road trips in that country. So I could spend an indefinite amount of time, I feel like, kind of vacationing travel through there, but working wise, like when you're in the places with Wi-Fi, it's not necessarily places that I enjoyed kind of staying long term if I was stationary and not traveling. So I wanted to share a bunch of different themes there, which is either like maybe it's Wi-Fi, cost of living, too touristy, not a place you really love, or a place you want to explore and not necessarily work. So those are my sort of themes for why you might quick travel somewhere.
I think that covers it. I was just thinking of a few other ones too.
Yeah, what comes to mind?
I occasionally see people going in and out of Amsterdam as digital nomads, which I cannot fathom. I do not understand what they're doing to be able to survive living in it. It's got to be
long term.
It's got to be on par with Switzerland with cost of living. I mean, it's my God.
The people I know who have stayed, I feel like you either have two camps of people for Amsterdam. Either I have some nomad friends. It's like you either go for 2-3 days and pay a lot just to get in, experience it, and get out. Or you get, like, I do know some nomads who have moved there full time and have basically, you get year-long leases, which are still really expensive, but more affordable than maybe like a month Airbnb. So honestly, I don't know anyone who really like nomads for a month in Amsterdam solely because of the cost of living, but there's people who have either you pop in, pop out quickly, or you like become an expat, and you don't really see many in-betweens with Amsterdam.
Yeah, same thing with like Paris, that kind of thing.
Yeah, some of those cities.
Went a couple of years ago I rented a shoebox, and it was 240 euros for the night. It's like the cheapest thing I could find. It's insane.
For like a tiny little thing. Yeah.
It's all tiny. It's just like unworkable. That's all I can think of. I think that's pretty much everything.
That's a lot. So the other quick thing we want to mention, if you would love to travel the world, whether it's quickly or slowly to any of these places, and you don't yet have a remote job, you may want to check out beachcommute.com/nomad jobs, and we'll send you a list of 5 companies who are actually hiring right now that will truly give you permission to work from anywhere, and all of the jobs that they have active at the moment. So you can start to get a feel for what's out there, what are these companies, what kind of jobs can you do. It's a really cool way to get just like a smattering of companies and different job opportunities to start to see what's a good fit for you. And we send out more of these weekly as well. So that's beachcommute.com/nomad jobs. If you are ready to get a remote job that you can do while you travel. And anything else, Jeff, before we wrap up?
Nope, that's it. You'll hear from me again in Mexico and you again from Atlanta.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.